Namaste. This is Timothy Halloran with another bi-weekly energy report, or if energy is too much of a descriptive hippie term, we can say that this is a real-life forecast. And I'm an astrologer. I offer to do in-depth natal charts, transit and relationship readings, as well as $66 hour-long readings. And this is a pretty serious and unsettling time. Yeah, today is Tuesday, July 12th, and it's serious because we just had the moon move into Scorpio. She'll move into Sagittarius this Friday for the weekend, and then Sunday moves into Capricorn. Tuesday, July 19th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, we have a full moon in Capricorn, 27 degrees and 40 minutes. So this full moon in Capricorn, it's serious. It brings up the world, it brings up our work, our responsibilities, our duties to the world, government, structures, authorities, systems, etc. Not only that, it's a serious time, but it's also an unsettling time because we've got planets square to Uranus. So last week we had Venus square to Uranus. Yesterday, Monday, we had Mercury square to Uranus. This is a very unsettling, anxious type of energy. And then coming up next weekend, the 16th, we have Sun also square to Uranus. So these inner planets, Mercury, Venus, and the Sun, are transiting out of Cancer into Leo. So this morning we had Venus transit into Leo, and tomorrow we have Mercury transit into Leo. So there's also a bit of shifting around that's going on these weeks. The energy can be a little bit discombobulating. Once again, unsettling, an unsettling time. There is change that needs to be happening. How exactly it's happening, we're still figuring it out as things are going on, and so there is this pressure, there is this anxiousness, and it's really coming to us from multiple angles. This movement from Cancer into Leo, these are very, very personal, subjective zodiac signs. Leo is the sign of the human being. It's our own ego, it's our inner child, it's our personal purpose, okay? This full moon in Capricorn, on the other hand, and you know the moon's going to be transiting these transpersonal zodiac signs through the next couple weeks. And this has more to do with the world. It has to do with society. It has to do with our connection to other people, to systems, to organizations. And so we're experiencing some friction here. And we can explore this a little further because we have a lot of aspects forming to the 4 major asteroids. Particularly, there is a forming opposition between really a dwarf planet, Ceres, floating in the asteroid belt, and Juno. And this is forming through August 31st, the end of the month. And so as these inner planets, Venus, Mercury, and the Sun, are transiting into Leo, they are also forming a T-square between asteroid Ceres and asteroid Juno. And this Ceres-Juno opposition is bringing up the dynamic between how we nurture ourselves versus how we connect and bond intimately with others. Now, asteroid Ceres is also about to change sign. She's going to shift from Aries into Taurus on July 17th. And moving into Taurus, Ceres is the nurturing principle. How we are nurturing ourselves. How do we nurture other people? Moving into Taurus has a lot to do with solidarity, taking care of ourselves, being able to provide for ourselves. And it's also this internal type of nurturance that comes through being comfortable where we are, in our own space, in our own immediate environment, and focusing very much on what we internally value. Juno in Scorpio, on the opposite end, is just the opposite function. It is the desire to merge into another soul, to connect intimately on every single level, to know somebody inside and out and to fuse with them, to merge with them. This is the desire of asteroid Juno coming up to join Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio. So we're already starting to see how there can be some seesawing back and forth between our own nurturance needs, between our own solidarity, between our own spaciousness, in order to be calm, in order to be free of stress and collected and strong. And then on the outside, we have the demands of the other. We have the desire to be with the other. And it can get complicated. It can get dramatic. Yeah, I think in this day and age, we're starting to really see more and more how difficult it can really be to balance our contemporary, complicated relationships with the family dynamic. So this is a time where, we're still in Cancer time. There's a lot to do with family, children. How are we relating to people in this more intimate, emotional way when life is so complicated? When there are so many demands coming from the outside simultaneously? And this is really thoroughly a productive time. This is not a time to wait around and see what's going to come next. This is the time to be making adjustments, and this can be part of this unsettling energy that's majorly going on. A lot of what is being seen in the world right now is everything that's wrong, everything that's overly complicated, all of the distractions that are there. This is a very critical time on planet Earth, just to be totally honest. This is a time where we're really starting to see the bigger work that needs to get done. This is still Saturn square to Neptune stuff that's going all the way through fall time this year. And it's about seeing how our goals, our beliefs, our dreams, what we want to get to, what we can just barely but can't quite yet grasp, but we want it to be here. How well does this actually fit into reality? Our dreams and goals about family, our dreams and goals about relationships. Having this Venus T-square with Ceres and Juno is really bringing up the relationship dynamic. We're seeing what we're getting and what we're not getting and what balance needs to be made, and this is a call to action. This is time to work. This is a time where we don't really have a choice because the world is not in a peaceful, settled down place. This full moon is square to Uranus. This full moon is seeing what is not structured in the world. There is no solid ground out there, whether it be our nation, our career. This entire thing is just hanging by threads, and we're watching it all just kind of dangle. And so there's this global paranoia. There's this global discomfort that's going on now. And this is important to understand that this discomfort, which can also be like a dissatisfaction, like, yeah, okay, things are going on, it's okay, but no, we need to do it better than this. I'm not really satisfied in the workplace. I'm not really satisfied at home. I'm not really satisfied in my relationships. Yeah, the goals are nice. The aspirations are nice. But we have a lot of things that we need to fix. And so this full moon being square to Uranus, this is like the upsetting of the world. This is the unsettling of structures. And this unsettling, this dissatisfaction, it's actually working for us. It's actually a force of evolution that can carry us forward by saying, hey, that's not really working out. You need to be inventive. You need to be creative. You need to find solutions right now that actually works in the real world. We do need to seize the day with this call to action and not simply get distracted and run away and run away and run away. That is the propensity when the energy is frictionless, when it's unsettling, when the world out there is kind of, there's nowhere to really stand for safety right now. And so we can go in the opposite direction, and we can go into distraction world, we can go into computer world, and try to shield ourselves from what's actually going on in reality. And we're going to be seeing a lot of that in the world at large, like this whole paranoid collective energy. We're all feeling it, whether we admit it or not. And so we all have different coping mechanisms for handling that. But if we can address the issues at hand rather than try to sweep them under the rug, thoroughly productive time. Seize the day, my friends. Be inventive, be different, be experimental. Now's the time to break away from the status quo. Break away from the expectations and the obligations of society. Break away from the social standards of what it means to be a strong man, what it means to be secure, what it means to hold down and prove to other people what it means to be successful does not really matter when all of that game is hanging on loose thread here. So back to Mars. Mars has been stationed at 23 degrees of Scorpio for going on like over a month. It's been a long time. And now Mars has gone direct a couple weeks ago and is slowly moving forward, just creeped up to 24 degrees. Now, in the last video, it was around the time of the new moon, I said, we want to put an intention in to bust through these things, because that's good for the new moons. That's what we want to do during this moon cycle. At the same exact time, we might have noticed that it hasn't been exactly totally easy to do this. When Mars turned direct, there is this growing internal energy, this growing passion. There's a lot of stuff I want to do. There's a lot of stuff I want to get to. And at the same time, not totally easy. This has been a struggling to make real what we are so anxious to do, and yet there can be more unsettling distractions, spontaneous, unpredictable changes, and it brings up more stress that gets in our way, that kind of like pushes our willpower down, and then it's like, oh, I've got to push through all the more stuff. And that's the potential here. When I talk about the light at the end of the tunnel, which there is, it is really about us harnessing our power as a soul, as a lover, as a spiritual being who knows our purpose, who knows who we are. We're kind of made of hero stuff, we're made of star stuff. We can handle this stuff, even when it seems overwhelming. And that's the light at the end of the tunnel. But Mars has been sitting at 23 degrees Scorpio, in conjunct to Uranus, in conjunct to asteroid Vesta. We might be really excited and really anxious to get going and have it all in our heads, and then the next day, it's just not really going yet. It needs to like grease up and get this engine going first, build up some momentum, and then we're going to push forward. And that's the opportunity going on through this next month, is let's start moving forward. Particularly at the beginning of August, Mars will push forward into Sagittarius on August 2nd, the same day as our new moon in Leo. Very good opportunities for us to sow seed, to bust through this stuff, to be the strong human being that we are. Fortunately, Mercury being conjoined with Venus at 5 degrees of Leo this weekend is a very appropriate time for us to be having these very meaningful conversations. This is the time for us to be aligning our real values with our mind, with what we're actually doing. It's about bringing that into our conscious understanding, getting it, into our communication, having these important talks. This is an important way of verification to ourself. Even if it's not like a conversation that's problem solving, just having others to reflect our drive, our purpose. This is what I'm doing, this is what I intend to do, this is what I highly value. And so we need to harness this Leo energy. And then of course the sun is going to follow into Leo on Friday, July 22nd. But this is the next approaching weekend, the 23rd and the 24th, that sun squares asteroid Ceres and asteroid Juno. We might have this super heroic, I'm going to do this energy, but it is coming in contact with the complexity of life, the complexity of the family, the complexity of the relationship. And so Leo is this hero who's on a journey, and we have so many things that we're so boldly doing, and we're so confident and so full of self-esteem. And we'll talk about how this is really the light that we need, the high octave of what that can be. But at the same time, we need to not get so carried away with our own adventure and with our own purpose that we lose sight of our connections to other people. And furthermore, how to nurture ourselves is like still the major ongoing lesson. Yeah, this full moon in Capricorn is opposite to the sun in Cancer. This Capricorn-Cancer polarity brings up the security axis between whether we feel secure inside and outside. If we've been spending a lot of time outside in the workplace, getting, doing this, that, or that, suddenly there can be some, I want to bring some security and structure into my home life. If it's all been distraction and paying attention to other people in our home life, giving to other people, well, we got to give ourselves some security, some physical environment where we feel like we are doing and performing what we want to. And this is the evolution of the masculine principle. This is Saturn stuff, this is Mars stuff, masculine stuff. Capricorn, we are changing what masculinity looks like on the planet at this time through the unsettling and the disturbing of what masculinity used to look like in the past. So, government structures, political structures, traditions, into very rigid scheduling and maintaining and organizations, money. This is not an easy time for these systems at all. At all. This is a time where things don't seem very solid. Money, job, work, or it's totally unsatisfying. We feel completely drained. And so this balance of inner-outer security is really what we are mastering. And that requires an evolution of the divine masculine principle. So this approaching weekend, the 17th, the same time Sun square to Uranus, Aries moves into Taurus, it's about, creating more self-security for ourself to be able to nurture ourself. When the world is very upsetting and the family situation is very upsetting, very unpredictable, how are we going to create this for ourselves? Well, the Sun is in a grand trine this approaching weekend with Mars and Chiron. The Sun is our purpose, it's Leonian, it's our work in the world, it's our dharma, it's our spiritual reason for being here as an individual human being. And that is the light at the end of the tunnel. That is the jet fuel that's going to carry us through all of this, is through knowing what our real purpose is and being strengthened by that. Sun in a trine to Mars and Chiron is a healing opportunity for us to align our real willpower, our true willpower, what we really aspire to do in our depths, with our purpose, with what we're actually doing in the world, with our own self-identity. How do we see ourselves? How do we refer to ourselves? And this needs to be evolved in a positive way, so that way we can see ourselves in a deeper, more meaningful way, to be more inspired, to have more aspiration and drive to do what we will in the world. And it's more than just what we will. Leo is this zodiac sign where we see a very full spectrum between what it could be and how it often plays out. Okay, low octave Leo is doing what we will in the world. I want to be popular. I want to be attractive. I want to have attention. I want to, be seen as how I actually am. Lower octave Leo is not what Leo actually is. Leo, at its highest potential, is being so confidently in tune with our own purpose as an individual human being that we are not challenged by the outside world, by authority, parental, family, relationship figures, because we know who we are. We know our truth. Leo is a fire sign. These three fire signs, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, it's a very fine line to walk these signs, because it's very easy to slip off into arrogance and to overinflation. But at the positive end of the spectrum, what it really is a bold confidence and self-esteem. And the high octave of Leo is not the gut, solar plexus, defensive, trying to get other people to like us because we don't actually have self-esteem. That's not actually Leo, that's lacking Leo. What we need to do is we need to tap into our own inner truth, okay? And this means redefining who we are as an individual. This means redefining what it means to be a spiritual aspirant. And I think we really do need to redefine this, because we've been given lots of prescriptions through the last several thousands of years, and they've told us how to refer to ourselves as an individual in relation to God, in relation to the rest of the world, and it has not always served us, I don't think. Yes, I understand how they originally can serve us, but these can easily be distorted. For example, in Christianity, we have the idea that we're all born of original sin. In Hinduism, we're born from a mistake and we have to recover our karma, and we should be seeing ourselves as basically, the dog of God. In Islam, we're slaves of God. I totally get, they're very beautiful, poetic ways of referring to our relationship to God that actually reflects unconditional love. That's how these things are supposed to be. When we start to see ourselves as being something like, I need to just serve, and I'm just this lowly, stupid fool, I can't do anything without God, I'm just this, natural failure, I'm just a dog, I just need to be directed where to go. There's a correct way to implement humility, And then there's a way that actually implements masochism and self-sacrifice and kills off our self-esteem. It's like these religions sometimes prejudice against the ego. Like your individuality as a person is a bad thing that you need to destroy, which is actually just killing the inner child, which is not really appreciated by the divine harmony that would like us all to see each other as family and accepting and embracing all of ourselves. So we need to redefine what it means to be a spiritual being. Okay, and Leo is the king. Okay, Leo is God, is the king. All right, and obviously we're not God, we're children of God. We're children of the king, which means that we're mini kings, we're mini queens, and this is how we need to see ourselves at this time. We need to own up to how we actually are. No more of the pity me, I can't do this, the world is all against me, my family is all against me, my past is all against me. Yes, we know. I mean, I'm not saying that's not true. We all know. We get it. And yet, what are we going to do now? This is where we are collectively. We have to do something. We have to improve our situation. The North Node going into Virgo, this whole damn year is about purifying, seeing what's not working, doing adjustment, doing rectification. It's laborious. It is a lot of hard work. Full moon in Capricorn, this is the time to, get down to business. It is a serious time. How are we going to be able to handle this amount of stress, of anxiety coming from the rest of the world, of screaming and crying children who don't know how to take care of themselves, and so we just, get glued to the computer and play Pokemon and all this stuff. It's like, what are we gonna do? We can't just throw ourselves to the winds of the world at this particular time. We need to stand up. We need to be bold. We need to be confident. We need to know who we are and do who we are. We need to know why we came into this life, into this situation, into this world, and it was not for a vacation. It's a very common question I get. When is it going to end? When is it going to end? When is there going to be a peaceful vacation? You're asking the wrong question. You are asking the wrong question. It is not about when is it going to end. It's about how can I serve the needs of the world better. It's not going to end. This is not a lifetime that we came in to enjoy a vacation. This is a lifetime where we need to know who we are and why we're here and what we're doing. And what we are doing is changing the way things have been. We're changing the relationship dynamic. We're changing the family dynamic. We're changing what femininity means. We're changing what masculinity means. We're changing how we can be both liberated and generate an income from the world and have physical security when the government is overly taxing and spending all their money on wars. We don't have any control over these things, but we need to have control over ourselves at least. And that's the challenge. That's the challenge and that's the opportunity. And if we can get on board with this, if we can sort of fill ourselves up with this Leonian, oh yeah, see, that's what we need right now. I'll be very happy to emulate that. Oh yeah, okay, I know why I'm here. Because I'm badass. Yeah, I know who I am. Yeah. Go ahead and doubt me. Go ahead, world. Go to shit. Crumble. Go ahead. Go ahead, rest of society. Hide your heads in the sand, play Pokemon, go ahead, that's fine. I know why I'm here. I know who I am. I know how awesome I am, yeah. And there is this nobility, this sense of, you know what, I'm in connection with something that is divine. That is high octave Leo. It's not about pride and pretentiousness and showing off. That's not really Leo. It's another sign that gets a reputation for something that it's really not. It is about nobly respecting our truth, which speaks to us from our hearts. Okay, it's not coming from up here. This is not how you know your purpose, your truth, who you are, what you're doing in the world. No. This is where you are. This is your truth. This is your purpose. This is what you're doing in the world. We need to figure out how to connect with this. Okay, that can mean changing some of our patterns, some of our activities, behaviors. I mean, this whole Mars pushing through Scorpio through the rest of this month is time for us to harness our real power, to be filled up by our passion, not to be distracted anymore by the bullshit, by the babies, by whatever's out there. It's time for us to step up, be empowered in ourself enough to go out there, confront those things, and be fine. It's a very complicated world. Raising a family, raising children, being in a relationship, and holding down the job. It's complicated. We have to be able to feel confident enough in ourselves, in our truth, in our purpose to confront these things. Confront them. Not run away from them, not be overwhelmed by them. And I'm not berating anyone who's overwhelmed by life. Life is freaking overwhelming right now. It's overwhelming. It's stressful, it's heavy, it's serious. And this is the initiation into our purpose, into our soul, that is so incredibly poetically heroic that none of this stuff is sweat. None of this is a big deal. This is no big deal. It's all just running off our back to our souls. So we need to tap into that. We need to find the practices, the stories that uplift us, remind us of ourself and our connection to God. Being a child of God is Leo. It's about our story, our history, everything that's ever happened to you, pleasure or pain. It's relevant to your hero's quest. It's relevant to making you the unique individual human being that you are. We're not all meant to do the same thing here on planet Earth. The way we're going to feel good in ourselves enough to be able to confront and evolve these things is going to be different for each and every one of us. Okay, not every single person in the planet needs to take the streets and protest. Not every single person in the planet needs to move to the woods and build an underground bunker to survive a nuclear attack. But for those that feel very safe and very called to do those things, then those are probably the things that they're meant to do. It's about knowing this is what I am meant to do because it resonates and speaks to me from my heart. I have this passion, I have this power that speaks to me from my depths. This is do or die. This is do or die time. This is time to eliminate the distractions. They're going to fall away. When we see how serious and how real life is and the demands keep building up, we don't have a choice. So we might as well get ahead of that, cataclysmic way of forcing us into being who we are. And let's get into who we are and our true power and our true capability on our own through volunteering. This is what I want to do. I want to be strong. I want to be like the knight who is capable of going out there in the world and not getting dragged down by the judgments and the opinions of other people. It's like pebbles going off of our shield of armor. And that's what we need. We need enough inner confidence and inner life, knowing that what we are doing, it's important. It's needed at this time. It's not just wasting our time. It's not just distracting ourselves with games. We know why we're here, what we're doing, and it's meaningful. This does not mean that you necessarily have to, travel the world and stand in front of podiums and audience. Bring meaning into your life. Bring purpose into what you are doing. And if you can't do that, it needs to change. We have to have our purpose and our drive and our deep, real passions aligned with both our work and our family and our home and our relationships. We can't be continuously bipolar, being fragmented and split apart from all these things. I'm here and I'm going to do this, but these people need me, and I just get completely drained. And this is what I'm doing, this is my purpose, this is my truth, and it's another 40-hour work week at the job, and I get completely dragged down until we're at an empty all the time. And we have no energy left over for ourselves, for our purpose, and what we are doing here that makes us feel good to be a human being. What makes you feel good is probably not going to be the same thing as what we're doing to distract ourselves and to comfort ourselves when we're exhausted. The reason we feel so exhausted all the time is because we're not giving ourselves what we need to feel good in a meaningful, purposeful way. Like I am helping people, I'm changing the world, I'm sharing my light. This is how we step into the inner hero. The inner hero is not this prideful, trying to get reaffirmation from other people so we feel good about ourselves. This is what I do. I'm a freaking hero. I go in there, I save lives. I go in there and I change people. People are not the same when I go in. I am a child of God. I am improving the environments, the situations that are around me all the time. This is who I am, this is what I do, and this is how I'm going to get even more into that. Reflect it back in on ourselves so we can take that light and harness it in so we can do the work that we need to do. Yes, we still have a lot of work to do. It's going to be a lot of money, a lot of job, a lot of, you can't just escape to the hippie commune. Okay, we know this now, which means that we're not here to escape to the hippie commune. We are here to do the work. We do have the momentum going for us to do this. And so I am wishing you absolutely all the best. May you be inspired and uplifted by your own awesomeness. You guys are fantastic people. So let's relish it a little bit. Let's revel how awesome we are. Let's bask in it, yeah? These are terms that are very frowned upon by traditional spirituality, because traditional spirituality has misled us in many respects. If we're feeling exhausted and depleted all the time because we aren't praying enough to God, something's not really working out here. We need to remember our own divine nature enough to be filled up by it. So Leo is basking in the sun. Yeah. The lion, the king of the jungle, what does he do? He just basks all day long. He just sits in the sun and, yeah, this is my kingdom, And, he's not even really doing all that much. He just basks and basks. And this is the sun filling himself up. Fill ourselves up with enough confidence. We're not going to be basking all day long, folks. We don't live in the jungle. We're not giant cats. But we should give us enough time to bask and fill ourselves up with our own glory, with our own divine nature. Let's celebrate ourselves. Let's celebrate the beauty of life. Let's celebrate the beauty of humanity amidst the crumbling of what is not really reflecting true humanity, because these structures, these governments, these systems are perversions of humanity. They're not real divine reflections of who we are. Let that shit fall apart and let us recenter ourselves in what truly matters, which is love, which is the heart. This is the center. If we can pull ourselves back into this, no matter what falls apart on the outside, we will feel safe, we will feel confident, and we will have the energy to meet it head on and not feel afraid and not feel exhausted, even when life throws us some of the most challenging experiences that there are to be had. So again, all the best to you in that endeavor. I would be very, very blessed and honored and happy to reaffirm some of you in your own individual truth and purpose. This is what I do. So you can schedule a natal chart reading from me at the link below, or a 60-minute, $66 reading, and we can talk all about this. We can talk all about my individual purpose, my individual truth, which oftentimes explains the experiences that I've redundantly had through life, so that way we don't have to take it personally, we don't have to see it as punishment. We can accept and embrace everything that's happening in our life and experience as being part of our own soul's evolution, which is leading us into our soul nature, being incredible, inconceivable, spiritual child of God. Namaste.